Yeah, there's not much left now, but as Roy Rutanen reports, most folks sure enjoyed it while it lasted.
It's 35 degrees. And we have a report in that it is snowing all the way from San Antonio to San Marcos.
Rush hour traffic moved a little slower than usual. There were a few mishaps. Umbrellas were popular for some, while others huddled tightly together at bus stops.
It's been a long time we didn't have any snow, so I love it. Great!
I like it.
It wasn't Aspen, but enough snow fell on the northeast side to transform this backyard into a ski slope. From the backwoods to the city streets, there's something enchanting about a snowfall. You look like you're all ready for the snow.
Oh, I love it.
As long as it doesn't ice, it's fine. Snow, I like it.
And the Yankees among us felt right at home.
Yeah, I'm from Wisconsin. I know about snow.
I feel like I'm back home in Chicago.
I'm from Dayton, Ohio, and this reminds me of being at home, so I like it very much.
Yet there are those who aren't quite sure about snow in San Antonio.
That's just fine. I wish to get rid of it.
But most people were delighted to see the snow, even though it melted as soon as it hit the ground, so it's hard to find enough of it to make a decent snowball. Roy Rutanen, News 4, San Antonio. Jose, get that kid. Hey, you!
Oh, well, for some, it sure was fun while it lasted.
That's right. John Willing standing by right now. John, any more snow in sight?
I'm afraid not. That was it. And what we had was a beauty of a storm with those nice large flakes coming down. Here's what it looked like as far as the snowfall amounts. That was quite a storm. Anywhere from 7 to 9 o'clock is when it hit the city. At the airport, they had 1.3 inches of actual snow that fell, but that's not what accumulated on the ground. As you know, it didn't really accumulate very much across the city. Most of it melted as it hit. But up here, just to the north of us, Bernie had at least 1 inch of snow, and here in Randolph Air Force Base had about a ½ inch. Many places about 1 inch or less, but Medina had the best snow with 3 inches hitting that area, 2 inches just west of Rock Springs. So this was quite a good snowstorm. I'll be talking a little bit more about the weather, which is still going to be cold in the next couple of nights in just a few minutes. Alan?
Okay, John, we'll see you in a little while. In other news now, News 4 has learned that San Antonio paramedic Ray Moberg will be asking a state district judge tomorrow to reduce his $500,000 bond. Moberg's stepdaughter Debbie is still missing and presumed dead. Because of that lack of evidence, police have not been able to file murder charges against the 39-year-old paramedic. Presently, he's been charged with the aggravated kidnapping and sexual assault of his 8-year-old daughter. And Moberg's attorney feels the bond is extremely high for such charges. The charges, by the way, were delivered to the district attorney's office this afternoon. Police are hoping they will be enough to keep Moberg's bond high and keep him behind bars.
We think we have a very good case. Basically, all that we've done today is put down in writing everything that we know about the case.
Now, meantime, the search for 18-year-old Debbie, who has been missing for 13 days now, continues. She is believed to have been shot. Her body later dumped either in a trash dumpster or a lake or a pond. 24 workers at Lackland Air Force Base have been relieved of their primary duties, this pending the outcome of a 5-month-long investigation into illegal drugs there. 18 of the 24 are enlisted personnel assigned to Wilford Hall Medical Center. One is a civilian who works at the hospital. According to Lackland officials, no doctors or nurses at Wilford Hall are suspected of using or distributing any of the drugs.
Suspected of being distributors, are suspected of using the drugs too. Cocaine, LSD, marijuana.
Now, Lackland was rocked by a similar investigation back in the fall of 1985. At that time, 91 people were disciplined because of illegal drugs. Total fines then exceeded $250,000. Total jail time added up to 31 years.
Yesterday at the Del Mar Apartments on the east side, sheriff's deputies confiscated stoves, heating units, and refrigerators, all stolen from Ray Ellison Industries. Well, today at a different location, they found even more items taken from the local builder. This afternoon at this unfinished apartment complex, deputies found heating and air conditioning units, cabinets, and sheetrock too.
Getting this stuff from new construction and subdivisions. And looks like the biggest majority of it's going to belong to Ray Ellison.
Sheriff Copeland says today's find is connected to yesterday's bust at the Del Mar, and he says he expects to find even more stolen items belonging to local builders in the near future. Our South Texas nuclear project is going to be investigated by a Washington group. The Government Accountability Project says its review of STMP is prompted by complaints from 36 present and former STMP employees. The group says the workers reported safety-related defects in engineering and complained of harassment and price fixing. CPS is one of the partners in the project, along with Corpus Christi, Austin, and HL&P. The Houston Power Company says this is actually a sort of compliment because the attention of anti-nuclear groups shows that the project is almost completed.
Well, even though the Texas economy is just about as gloomy as this morning's skies, West Side community leaders are going ahead with plans to build a garment manufacturing plant. The $4 million project will be built near Highway 90 West and 36th Street. Under a cold and damp tent, ground was broken by the developers, the Mexican-American Unity Council, and the East Los Angeles Community Union of California. The project has been a dream of the COPS organization to develop the economically depressed Edgewood School District.
That you've made no better investment, and when history is written, it will look to you also as people who had faith and were able to commit to those who were poor and who were powerless, and that you try to enhance and empower them for better opportunities. Thank you very much.
The project is being built with private and federal funding, and once completed, between 350 and 600 jobs are expected to be created.
Our old friends Red Duke and Call 4 are up next.
As we also say adios to an old friend, one who has been with us for 35 years.
And we'll meet a local woman who had a chance to spin the wheel.
News 4 San Antonio is brought to you in part by the law offices of Pat Maloney.
Is the jury the conscience of the community? Indeed it is. It embraces community values. It gives ordinary citizens a vital role in the government. It applies a collective wisdom to difficult cases. And jurors have no personal stake in any verdict except to see that justice is done. So, any effort to restrict your right to a jury trial, to replace the jury with a panel of experts, or with a trial judge sitting alone, could seriously weaken our historic jury system. The jury is a time-honored American institution. It is indeed the conscience of our community. Let's preserve it. The more you know, the better you can protect your family.
This informational series is presented in your interest by the law offices of Pat Maloney.
America's favorite way to win happens right here.
You mean right here on this channel? Right. It's Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. The excitement of Wheel of Fortune with Pat Sajak and Vanna White. People's lives all over America change when they spin to win. And don't miss Jeopardy, television's ultimate big money risk with Alex Trebek. It's where you can win it all or lose it all.
Come be a part of the excitement.
Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy.
Now that's a winning combination.
Watch Wheel and Jeopardy, Saturday starting at 6, here on Channel 4.
This Sunday is the biggest day of the year for Fred Finster, because this Sunday is Super Bowl Sunday, and Fred is ready to play because he took advantage of the terrific savings at Highland's week-long Super Bowl sale. Like this Panasonic 19-inch color TV with automatic fine-tuning for just $194. So come to Highland's Super Bowl sale now through Sunday and get the best seat in the house.
Oh, good. Finished just in time.
Kickoff! Today's movie presentation, Heidi.
Yesterday, we found out why it is important to fill out a new W-4 form for income tax withholding. Today, Call 4 reporter Dan Garcia went over to the IRS to get some help in completing that new paperwork.
Alan, at first glance, the form looks fairly complicated, and I was told if you take it one line at a time, the new W-4 is fairly easy to complete. 50% of the taxpayers in the country will only have to fill out the first 5 lines of the new form. That is, providing you're not blind or over 65 years of age. But if you've got extra income, or 2 people in your family work, or other deductions, there's a little more to do.
This is a new form that will take into consideration joint returns, 2 incomes, other income, and it just gives you a truer picture.
Since the new form enables taxpayers to get a better picture of what their bill will be at the end of the year, the IRS says it's better to fill out the form as soon as possible, even though you have until October to complete the paperwork.
It's required before October 1st, but the earlier you do it, the truer your tax picture will be.
Now, if you run into some trouble, where do you turn?
Well, actually, the IRS will be holding some seminars for employers. Now, for employers. To get more information on when the next seminars will be held in town, call 1-800 424-1040. Now, they'll also have 2 pamphlets available through the IRS. One is publication 505. It's called Tax Withholding and the Estimated Tax. The other is pamphlet 919, and it's called Is My Withholding Correct?
I thought this was supposed to simplify all this.
Well, it's supposed to.
Oh.
But you know how the government does things.
Thanks a lot, Dan. Of course, if you need some help with consumer problems, just call 4-225-4442, and with a TDY, 225-2416. Phone lines, of course, are open Monday through Friday from 11 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon.
Time for Dr. Duke now. Microsurgery, it has advanced a great deal in the past 20 years. It's incredible what surgeons can do today. Well, Dr. Duke shows us some of the intricacies involved with this fascinating surgery.
Now, by definition, microsurgery is a very special discipline in surgery that deals primarily with tiny, tiny blood vessels, nerves, and ducts. Now, obviously, the work is carried out with the surgeon looking through a microscope which enlarges these structures sufficiently to allow him or her to put these structures together properly and make them work. In the early days of the development of microsurgery, about the only way in which this discipline was applied was to replace parts like toes and fingers that had been cut off. Today, however, it's being used in a lot of different ways as a reconstructive technique.
A common example will be a defect on the lower leg from a motorcycle accident. There is muscle missing and there is bone exposed. In that case, we can transfer a piece of muscle or skin from the back with the vessels and re-anastomose, reconnect the vessels down in where the defect is in the lower leg, and then provide coverage to the area and provide coverage to the bones and muscles exposed.
To be qualified to do microvascular surgery, an individual has to spend a lot of time learning the techniques necessary to carry out these functions. It's also necessary to have the tools and the team to support this individual as well. Now, next time, we're going to tell you about a little fella who had a severe injury and was significantly helped because of microsurgery. From the University of Texas Health Science Center in Houston, I'm Dr. Red Duke.
That report on Friday.
Well, if you have driven by our Channel 4 studios downtown lately, you can see that we've been going through some changes with some new construction, but there is another change coming that will affect us more deeply than that. Our station president, Ed Cheviot, will retire on March the 1st. He has seen us through 35 years of change in the television industry, and today our Linda Wasserman talked with Mr. Cheviot about his years at KMOL.
After 35 years in television, Ed Cheviot has memories that could fill many scrapbooks with pictures of the people and exciting events he encountered along the way.
That's Murphy. That's the governor of Ohio.
Ed Cheviot first came to WOAI-TV, as we recalled, back in 1952, as the station's sales manager. After 5 years, he moved up to vice president and general manager, a position that put him in the middle of things when the company changed hands twice. But Cheviot likes being in the middle, taking an active part in things like relief efforts when a devastating hurricane hit the coast. He's always wanted to keep in step with community needs, and that's one reason he started his editorials.
And I've always had a yearning to say things. I'm not too laid back, as you know. And so when I got excited about something, I got upset, I take to the air.
It will no doubt be a hard thing for Cheviot to leave KMOL. There have been times of great joy and sometimes despair.
But it's like a divorce or a death in the family. You leave someplace after 35 years, that's a shock in the system. But we're getting used to the idea.
Linda Wasserman, News 4, San Antonio.
Now, he's not really going to retire. He plans to start a whole new career for himself in business, and being chairman of the San Antonio Economic Development Foundation, I'd say he's made a pretty good head start.
I'd say so. Remember last October, the Wheel of Fortune people were in town. They were looking for contestants to be on the game show. Well, a San Antonio school teacher was one of the lucky ones picked, and she is going to appear on tonight's show, seen here on Channel 4 at 6 o'clock. At Winston School today, students and their computer teacher, Joni Love, gathered around a TV set for a sneak look at tonight's show. News 4 managed to obtain a preview tape. It was December 18th. Mrs. Love was there for the session.
Oh, then do it.
High voltage.
Yeah, there. Oh, my goodness.
She did pretty good. She thought and she used her brain to think all the words, and I thought she did pretty good.
Once I was chosen, your adrenaline starts flowing, and it's a real thrill. And the chance of possibly winning something absolutely terrific like a car is there within everyone's reach.
And just how did she do? Did she win any fabulous prizes? We'll just have to wait tonight at 6 o'clock to find out.
Oh. I think we got to give a fabulous prize to John Willing for hitting the forecast on the head.
Pat on the back.
What, 2 or 3 days ago, you told us exactly what was going to happen.
Monday night, it started kind of looking at me, you know. And finally, it's just one of the most pretty snowstorms. It didn't cause any real big problems or anything like that. What can you say? It was a nice snow. Anyway, I'll be talking a little bit more about that storm and also what it's going to be looking like for the next couple of days. We have some very cold nights upon us. Well, despite some snow in the morning that we saw, it looks like the temperatures finally made it up to 47 degrees. Not too bad of a day. Outside right now with mostly cloudy skies, it's still 46, and the winds are from the east at 5 miles an hour. The barometer has 30.05 in the last reading. And you can see here's the snow as it looked earlier today. Light mold showing up today at 60 per cubic meter, and also a trace of mountain cedar, but this was not a big day for the mountain cedar. You can see it around 7:50 this morning, only about 10 till 8. This is where the rain and the snow and the sleet were spreading. Sleet was reported as far south as Beeville, but the snow seems to stop just south of town, and it looks like it was mainly up there in the hill country where we saw anywhere from 2 to 3 inches in some spots. It was quite a storm. Everything was moving northeastward, so it didn't take too long before that storm was out of the area. Now, as we look at the lows across the state today, it was pretty cool here in San Antonio. Finally dropped down to 33 degrees, which just proves that you still can get snow even though the temperature isn't 32. It was 20s up here in North Texas, and 8 degrees in Amarillo was the state's coldest temperatures this morning. Now, this afternoon, it has warmed up quite a lot, where they're seeing a lot of sun up here. 34 degrees. Finally, they are above freezing in Amarillo after several days of being below freezing. 8 inches of snow still sitting on the ground this morning in Amarillo. 50 in Dallas this afternoon, and of course 40s across our area. As we look at that satellite picture, though, the clouds look like they are finally moving out. It's clearing out here over the hill country. It looks like a cold night for these areas here, but finally that'll all be gone by morning. It'll really be turning out to be a nice day. You can see from the satellite picture for the nation that the clouds extend all the way through the southeastern part of the country. Snow continues in the northern plains, and along with it, a very strong windstorm with this particular front. That front has kicked up winds of 66 miles an hour in Rapid City, South Dakota, and in Scottsbluff, Nebraska, they've had 60-mile-an-hour winds. Well, this is also causing a small craft advisory for the coastal sections as that low pressure here on the coast moves off. Here's how it's looking for the forecast in San Antonio. Tonight is going to be a cold night, dropping down to 30. It'll be clearing late tonight and tomorrow morning as you're getting up. Cold temperatures around 30 to 36 with a north wind of around 10 to 20 miles an hour. Now, that north wind will die down a little bit in the afternoon. Highs up to about 53 and sunny. And then by Friday, light winds warming. Temperatures in the morning, 25, but the afternoon getting up to around 57. Saturday, partly cloudy, and then Sunday comes our next chance for rain. And so you got the next couple of days of just real cold mornings.
Okay, John, thank you. There is some sad news in sports today.
Yeah, we've got proof that being a star in the NBA doesn't make you immune to tragedy. I'll be back with that story in just a moment. You know, for as miserable years it's been for the Spurs, Alvin Robertson continues to shine. For the second year in a row, Alvin's been named a starter for the Western Conference in the NBA All-Star Game. He'll be joined in the backcourt by Magic Johnson of the Lakers. James Worthy of the Lakers took one forward spot. Ralph Sampson of the Rockets is at the other forward, and Hakeem Olajuwon will play center. In the Eastern Conference, it'll be Larry Bird, Julius Erving, Michael Jordan, Dominique Wilkins, and Moses Malone, the game scheduled for February 8th in Seattle. Meanwhile, the Spurs have put Johnny Moore back on the active roster. He'd missed the last 12 games, you know, and that meant somebody had to go. That someone will be Tyrone Corbin. Corbin was cut by the Spurs today to make room on the roster for Johnny Moore. Spurs play the Rockets. Houston Rockets, that is, at the arena tonight. And if you're down there for the game, you might give a hand to one of the Rockets players. His name is Rodney McRae, and even though he's going to be playing for the opposition, you can't help but pull for him a little bit. Bill Jones explains why.
Rodney McRae knows life in the NBA can get rough at times. But 2 months ago, Rodney McRae discovered that life itself can be even tougher. This is Rodney's daughter, April McRae. She just celebrated her 5th birthday. she may not have a sixth.
She fell Thanksgiving Day and hit her head, so we took her to the emergency room.
They found out she had a brain tumor, which is in a part of the brain that's inoperable.
And that more than likely, eventually she would die.
April McCray is about to finish 6 weeks of radiation treatments at MD Anderson Hospital in Houston. If the growth of the tumor is not slowed, chemotherapy is the next step. Doctors say April has only a 10% chance of winning her battle.
It has been a trying season for Rodney McCray, but through it all, he's been an inspiration to his Rocket teammates, who can't believe how he's performed through his personal adversity.
It takes a lot of men with character to get out and perform at the level that he is performing. Rodney's playing at an all-star level for us every night.
When home in Houston, Rodney devotes most of his day to April. That time spent with her helps tide him over on long road trips like this one.
There's always a lot of self-searching and why this and why that. And maybe in time you could find the answer, and sometimes you never do.
For Rodney, time is precious, and so is his 5-year-old bundle of joy. Bill Jones, Sports 4, San Antonio.
Makes you think about what's really important, doesn't it?
Indeed.
It does.
Thanks a lot, George. We've got another success story today on Wednesday's Child.
That's right. We'll meet Jesse's new family. On Wednesday's Child this afternoon, a visit with a little boy named Jesse. When we first met Jesse, we took a ride on the little train around Brackenridge Park. It was October. Jesse was 18 months old and needed a family. Now, just 3 months later, Jesse has a family, all his own, to ride the train with.
Well, it was the first time for me riding on the train, and I enjoyed myself a lot. And to be riding around with Jesse this time around is even more thrilling for me.
They make a picture-perfect family. Greg, Maria, their own 2 daughters, Sarah and Teresa, and now little Jesse, who really won them over when they saw him on Wednesday's Child.
At the time, he was happy, and he was all boy, just what I wanted. So.
I like that when you said at the time he was happy. You're down to normal family life now, right?
Right. We've seen him happy and sad now, and upset, especially around eating time.
We're gonna get you, but you gotta get us.
Oh, they love him. The more time they can spend with him, the better. I mean, they always want to take him in their room. I mean, they fight over who's going to sit next to him in the car when it's time to eat dinner. Oh, he loves you to throw him up in the air. He loves you to be rough with him. The rougher you are, it seems like the more he likes it.
Typical little boy, huh?
Yeah. We could have more children, but we decided since there's so many children out there that we'd prefer to go take one that needs a loving home already. So I definitely adopt. He's brought us so much joy. Look at him.
Oh, we're so happy for Jesse and his new family. We wish them a lot of luck.
The story just in the News 4. A Brownwood Fire Department captain says 2 pilots are missing and presumed dead this afternoon in the mid-air collision of 2 F-4 Phantom jets near Lake Brownwood. It happened just before 4 o'clock this afternoon. The 2 F-4s collided. 2 of the 4 men in the planes parachuted to safety. One of those men who parachuted to safety was badly burned. The other pilot just walked away. However, they have reason to believe that the 2 other people in those planes are dead. They are missing now and presumed to be dead. Right now, they believe that both planes came out of Bergstrom Air Force Base near Austin, but right now officials at Bergstrom say they cannot confirm that right now. Again, 2 F-4s colliding over Lake Brownwood this afternoon. At least 2 pilots are dead. We'll have more information on it for you tonight at 10.